As you can see, this is just a standard email. Um, this one is for Yelp. You can see that they have some different options here, a blog post, a tip, um, and this highlight here. And this is just basically the preview mode, so you just see the email. I just took the code from reallygoodemails.com and didn't change anything, just imported it directly. So when you go into edit mode, you'll start to see that content pieces are highlighted. Different texts and images are selectable basically. So the idea is that you could then go in and select one, and you have these options here then to making it editable. So you enable that, you give it a name. So let's say intro title for this. You set some formatting properties. In this case, we don't want any kind of formatting. And then update, and then when we save, you'll notice that it highlights green, meaning that it's now active. And when you save, you go back into template preview mode, and now this is editable. And no formatting options, we took them all out. You could change the link, or you can add a link. In this case, it doesn't have a link. So the image, you can see here what options it has when we enable it. So intro image with a variable name. All right, so let's update that. So we save, and now we can make edits to the image. You'll see standard properties. You could upload the image. You could edit its URL or update its link, update its alt tag. In this case, it has one, which is good. And then, yeah, anything you need to edit. Looks like it's all good here. So basically this way, you know, have a email that you could edit and change that content for. So you could keep the same format and then just basically update it with the content or pass it on to your team to update it. It is ready to go. So here we have sections, and sections are basically stackable containers. So they're modules that you could drag and drop in that stack on top of each other. So with that in mind, you can see that these new areas highlight based on essentially the HTML tags that could apply for being a section. And what we have to do is figure out which ones would actually work that way. So if we were to click on one, we could see that there's these HTML elements down here. And we have to decide which ones are next to each other to be able to stack on top of each other. So it looks like the TR is probably what does it. But if we go up one more, let's take a look at the table. It looks like that might actually be it, because then we go higher and it goes to the body, but the table seems to be self-contained, separate from each one. So then this one, same thing, there's a table. So table is what we want. So let's start at the top with this. We got a table, and then we'll enable it as a section and give it its own name. That should be it for sections. So let's see what happens. We save. And now the sections will be generated into these modules that you see here. And so now you can see that each one is a separate area, a separate container that stacks. So you can rearrange it. You could add in new ones. We can now build an email based on modules. So we'll start a new email. And then now we see a blank state for the email. And so when you go into edit mode, you could then start plugging stuff in. We can do this without the image. There's a button, and maybe this only has these tips. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's all we do for this. And there we have our email.